use the arrows on the machine. Just
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's easier, I think. Sometimes.
So I had chapter 26, Death on the Nile, and I used, okay, so my four colors were black, white, red, and gold, and I used red to show bloodshed because both Simon and Jackie die, and gold I kind of used mainly for the backgrounds, but I used that color to show wealth because the whole movie was about like Lynette dying because she was wealthy, and Simon and Jackie wanted her money. So I played with the colors, and this is Colonel Race. And at first I just had like the basic geometric shape, but I wanted to distinguish him more, so I made him tall and thin, but I wanted to still add more detail. And because he was kind of a main character, I added arms, so all the main characters have arms in my chapter. For Perot, same thing, like the snowman, or the circles look like snowman, so I didn't like that, and then I added more detail and put him in a tux. And then for Simon, he was wearing a robe in my scene, so I added the stripes, and I gave him eyes, and Jackie, because in the chapter that I had, they were both really scared because they were being accused of murder, and so I gave them eyes to look like they were scared. And then Jackie, I put her in red also, and gave her eyes and arms because she was the main character. And then for Rosalie, I just made her pretty basic and stuff with black and white, and pretty much just did the hourglass figure to show she was a woman, and played with her hair a little bit. And then Pennington, he was always wearing all white, so he was pretty easy, and I took away the arms because he wasn't a main character. And for Mrs. Van Schuyler, at first I just had her very basic because she wasn't a main character, but then you couldn't tell who she was. So I added the hat and the buttons, but the buttons made her look like a maid, so then I took the buttons away. So for my first scene, Jackie and Simon were being accused by Perot and Colonel Race, and the rest of the characters kind of around in a circle, but they were sitting in chairs, so I changed it a little bit. And I didn't like how Jackie looked like she was floating on the couch, and I didn't like the layout as much. So I changed and added detail, and then I put Jackie like three-dimensional behind the couch, but still where everyone was around her. And then I added, this was my final for the first scene, and I added the circle windows to show that they're actually on a boat and not just like a living room. And for my second scene, Jackie was to the point where she knew there was nothing else they could do, and they knew they were both going to jail, so she ends up killing Simon. But there wasn't enough going on in the scene. I wanted more detail. So I added the window that was behind them and a rug, but there wasn't enough characters still. And some of my details were too red, and that distracted from Simon and Jackie themselves. So then I added more detail and took away the red, and then added the other characters so that you can see they were all watching. And then for my third scene, I had Jackie committing suicide, and Simon was already dead. But I pretty much kept the same kind of scene because it was the same, like everything, but except for she was killing herself. So I didn't like that the gun was pointed kind of towards Perot, and it looked like she was killing them rather than herself. So I changed her eyes, and then I also put everyone like stepping back because they were afraid that they were gonna get shot. So this way it looks more like she was aiming it at her, but I still didn't like how it was like the same as my second scene. So for the last final, I just pointed the gun at her and then zoomed in so you could see like what she was doing. Yeah.
Will you go to your final scene? Oh, the last one.
The third final?
Yeah. I really like it. I feel like her legs are kind of awkward.
Okay.
So maybe
Yeah, I didn't know how to really
I
choose
don't
a
really
dress
know, but
too, but
You could stick like another rectangle going downwards as if she's sitting over top of Simon, if that helped. Not sure.
Also, you could have her to where she's not even sitting on the couch, but she could just be standing up and pointing the gun at his head.
yeah, at first I had her like floating over him. I didn't like that, so I like changed it to this, but yeah. It looks a lot
Particularly in this one, though, if you just put the couch and Simon in front of her, she could be standing right behind it and doing it. It's a re-envisioning. It doesn't have to be literally what was in there anyway. And I think that if it helps with dealing with an awkward body position, but you still make it work, then yeah.
Okay.
Can you go to your second final scene?
Sure.
Generally, overall, I like it. The only comments I really have would be kind of address the space in the bottom right a little bit more. I'd like to see a little more variation in the size of your characters to kind of really overemphasize that surrounding. Because, I mean, it's not a huge room.
Do you think it would work to just blow up that segment? I mean, to just make Jackie, Simon, and the couch bigger and a
You
little
mean like
closer
zoom into
to us?
the-
Yeah.
So you move it like a little down and to the left, and then
Right.
kind of pull those three
Can-
characters in the bottom
Yeah, you
left.
can
Mhm.
A little
select
more
all,
to the right.
select the whole image and then like group it and bring it up.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like it. Sorry. I like how you made the characters, the ones that you wanted to focus on, have eyes. I thought that was a good touch.
Mhm.
Did you something to say?
I think Jenna was going to say something, but.
Oh, Jenna.
Oh, sorry. I would just be conscious on like Simon's body throughout all your slides. Like I don't know if those rectangles aren't supposed to be there. I would just kind of clean up him and like on your third scene the lines. Will you go to that one really fast?
Yeah, the third final.
Yeah. Like just those little lines, just kind of clean them up a little bit more.
Okay.
On the second scene, can you go back to your final second? Sorry. I was thinking that like the eyes worked really, really well on the first scene, but like on this scene, like those guys were really surprised too that she like is, you know, shooting Simon. So I was just wondering like what if like you put eyes on them too, or like
What about just eyebrows, maybe, if you didn't want to do the eyes the same? Maybe you could have
Yeah.
eyebrows or something to express their shock. Yeah. Other suggestions and comments here? I think this is pretty good. Some little tweaks that people have suggested here, and I don't think any of those will be that difficult, really, to make. I liked it a lot. You want to tell us exactly, though, why did you go with the kind of yellow gold, or gold yellow, rather?
Just to symbolize the wealth, because
Mhm.
Lynette was obviously killed because she had money,
Mm-hmm.
and I just needed a fourth color, and I thought gray was too bland.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Your curtain on the couch. Is it supposed to be behind the couch? Because he looks like he's laying on the curtain. Do you see
Oh
it?
no, his head's supposed to be on the couch, but yeah.
Slipped a little
Just
bit.
like-
Okay. Anything else? Good job.